Alright, so for those of you who are just tuning in, we're about to spectate another 1v1 between my viewers as part of my weekly Twitch TV live streams. Today we're doing a civilization matchup analysis between the Ethiopians and the Indians. If you'd like to get in on this, then I do live stream regularly on Twitch TV. And if you head on over to my Twitch page and scroll underneath the video player there, you can find my live streaming schedule, which I do update every few days. And if you follow me on Facebook and Twitter, you will get updates on when I'm streaming next. So, today, Civ matchup between the Ethiopians and the Indians. I have selected two higher rated players today, so the match quality should be excellent. And I've picked these two civilizations because I consider this matchup to be more neutral and yet still incredibly intricate, as the Ethiopians and the Indians do have tools to deal with each other at all stages in the game. I just find that they're very fascinating civilizations in general. As always, your feedback is very much appreciated, guys. Thank you so much for keeping that coming. I do read all your comments, even if I don't get a chance to respond to each of them individually. And I do also read, any comments whenever people mention me or share my stuff on Reddit, so thank you. Jumping straight into the game. Welcome to the stream, Memb, by the way, and thank you for the 10 bits. Absolute bread. So, we are playing, of course, on Arabia. So, this is exactly the same as normal Arabia, except I've replaced some of the assets with the African Kingdoms ones. So we have goats instead of sheep, but functionally, it's exactly the same. On the right side of the map, we have Salty Seven Hands in his Civilization Matchup Analysis rematch versus, well, it's at least him getting his revenge. So he's not playing against the same person, but this is another shot at him potentially winning this one. So, we have Street Pete AOC playing as the Blue Indians. Thank you so much, Kanye Twest, for the 350 bits. He says, cheering since Seven Hands lives so close to you. His ping drops to 1. It is actually ridiculous. Apparently, Salty Seven Hands must live in my city and maybe even on my block, because on average I have 1 to 5 ping to him. So, for all I know, he could have trick-or-treated at my house. Welcome to stream, Dilbert UK. So, during this video, I'm going to be talking a little bit about each of these civilizations, their strengths, their weaknesses, the units that they have access to, and how those will play against each other. I think that these are both very well-designed, unique civilizations, which is why I have picked them here today. We are playing on Arabia, which is a very open map, dry Arabia, so that there are no puddles in the trees, and I think we're going to see some great gameplay here. We're going to start with the Ethiopians. Ethiopians are one of my favorite civs added in the African Kingdoms. So the Ethiopians bonuses, if we take a brief look at these, archers fire 15% faster. This one's criminally underrated by newer players. It's incredibly strong when you're microing your archers in the early game. Receiving 100 gold and 100 food when advancing to the next age allows you to do some crazy strategies, and it gives them a very strong night rush, for example. Encourages them to get through the ages quickly. This allows them to defend against knights with the free pikemen and halberdier upgrades free. It's very helpful. Shotel warrior, great unit. Torsion engines, royal heirs. Team bonus not really relevant. Essentially, the thing that it defines the Ethiopians in general for players is going to be the Shotel warrior, their unique unit, which is like a glass cannon infantry. It's fast, it has an incredibly high attack stat, very poor survivability, and a 35 gold cost, which is actually very steep for an infantry unit, especially one that costs... let's see, who's the person who's leaving? See a Gamer Zero. Thank you for tuning into the stream. That's a very steep cost for an infantry unit, particularly with one with as poor survivability as that. So you have to be very careful with throwing away your Shotel warriors. They did indeed get nerfed in patch 4.8, so that they have less attack bonus versus buildings, which means you can no longer just kind of suicide them, trying to take down enemy town centers and castles like that. So it's something that players do have to be careful with. When you're playing against the Goths, or the Malians, basically a civ with very strong infantry that are resistant to archer attacks, you do want to be using the elite Shotel warrior as a substitute for champions, which the Ethiopians do not get, as a way to deal with those type of units. The Ethiopians, again, have very strong archers, which gives them a powerful early game. Their archer rush is quite good, especially considering that they get 100 food and 100 gold when they advance the next age, and then they just attack faster. The thing is that as the game, and the Ethiopians have very strong late game torsion engines and they're excellent siege weapons. When we compare them to the Indians, though, the Indians do not have any early game military bonuses. So first, let's go give that a look. So if we check out the Indians, they're a camel and gunpowder civilization. Their most important thing is going to be that their villagers cost less, and that bonus increases as we get through the ages. Fisherman bonus not going to come into play here. Camels plus 1 armor and pierce armor is excellent for making camels a viable raiding unit, and critically, the Indians actually lack knights. They're the only civ in the game that has a stable but no knights. The Saracens get knights, but they don't get cavaliers and paladins. So you have to rely on camels as a substitute for that. Then they have their Elephant Archers, very slow late game unit. Imperial Camel upgrade to the Camel unit, and then the team bonus, Camels plus 5 attack versus buildings is also quite nice. They also do have very strong late game with gold production being 10% faster and hand cannoneers having an additional 1 range. Welcome, Ender Zero, good to see ya. So basically what we have with the Indians is the Ethiopians are a very aggressive civilization. Both of these civs have strong late game, but the Indians are significantly more defensive early on, and they're just a slower civilization in general. They have no early game military bonus. Their only military bonuses come into play in the Castle Age. And interestingly enough, the Night Rush for the Ethiopians is a powerful option. So what's going to come down here is some scouting on the part of blue. When you're dealing with the Ethiopians, this is also something I don't see players take advantage of that often. Usually they just spam Shotel Warriors, but I think that Shotel Warriors are going to probably be a mistake in this matchup and something that you only would use situationally. Perhaps... Oh, thank you, by the way, Dilbert UK, for the 1-year anniversary. Thank you for keeping your subscription and supporting the channel. Helps out a lot. Not exactly sure when I would want to see Shotel Warriors in this matchup, because they don't trade efficiently with Imperial Camels. I think that you could rush them out in the Castle Age, but I don't think that it would actually be that effective. So, Shotel Warriors I don't think are going to be the ideal thing here. I think that when you're the Ethiopians, you always have the option of going for a Night Rush because their Night Rush is very strong, but I wouldn't go for that either here, I think, because the Night Rush is so easily countered by the Camels. Shotel Warriors in the Castle Age is kind of slow, and I don't know if you want the Indians to... It's not that slow, but it's slower than going for something like crossbows. So I think what I would like to see from the Ethiopians player here is to try and take advantage of the fact that you have a clear advantage in the Feudal Age, and then in the Imperial Age, things start to get muddied a little bit, and it's not exactly clear who's stronger. You both have very strong access to units. The Ethiopians can be the bully early game, so I'd like to see them in the Feudal Age maybe going for archers and transitioning to crossmen, putting a lot of pressure on the Indians, because the Indians don't have knights, and when we're dealing with unmasked crossbowmen, knights are really good against them until you reach that critical mass where the crossbows can just kind of pick off the knights before the knights even get to you. That's not the case here. Camels are a lot worse versus crossmen than knights are, because camels have significantly lower armor, even with a bonus, so I would like to see some crossman pressure. If you were the Indians, you're probably going to have to play defensively early on. I still think that camels are a decent option. And I'm curious to see what he ends up going for. Will he be going for scouts? It looks like he might be going for scouts. And if we check out our purple player here, what is his plan? He might actually go for Shotel Warriors with this stone mine here. He might be going for a fast castle into Shotels. This is interesting because when we look at the Indians as civilization, they do have a very strong... See you, Dune, by the way. They have a very strong economy, and it only gets stronger as the game drags on. So this means that you would kind of expect the Indians, considering they don't have like an early game military bonus, to play more defensively, which is why it's nice to see him, you know, scouting aggressively to see what his opponent's up to. He has seen this stable. So you kind of expect a fast castle age, at least as an option, maybe like a Drush fast castle age, Drush to create some space with the 3 militia, allowing you to get to the castle age safely. In theory, allowing you to go for something a little bit slower, like Shotel Warriors, without really having to worry about it, but I think that blue is perhaps doing some 3D chess here. Going for something a little bit unorthodox and going for like a scout rush and playing a little bit more aggressively. Perhaps to catch purple off guard. Knowing that the Shotel Warriors are a decent option, I think though that if you see the Shotel Warriors coming your way and you are blue, that you could just defend yourself with crossbowmen. And then just kind of boom off the back of that. I mean, that's kind of why, like, I think that the Shotel Warriors are decent in this matchup, because Camels don't trade, like, they trade okay with them, but it's not great. But mostly because the Indians can just play defensively and then just boom so effectively off that, whereas with crossbowmen, even if your opponent has walled up, you can still, you know, harass his woodline with your crossmen on the other side of that. Oh yeah, I have the Indians building mod, so it looks absolutely awesome. Thank you guys for reminding me to do that. You can actually find this in the Steam Workshop, made officially by the devs. So it's going for scouts, trying to put the pressure on. We know this is a fast castle age into Shotel Warriors, but I think it's okay. I still think I would have liked to have seen archers and the crossmen. I think that's like a little bit better here, but it's easier for us to see that in retrospect as the observer. I think this is what basically I would consider in this matchup the fast castle into knights to be a mistake for the Ethiopians. I think that it's like always wrong versus the Indians. Oh, this poor gold miner's actually trapped. That sucks. So, I would consider the fast castle into knights to be always a mistake. Not only is it Because then your opponent, you don't want your opponent to be able to play to his civilization's strengths. And here, if you're going through fast castlage into knights, you're like, oh, hello, Indians, player with all those camel bonuses. I would like camels to be the optimal choice for you. That's how you end up in a pretty bad situation. So that's why I kind of like I don't know. I like making sure that my opponent is making units that he doesn't have like heavy civ bonuses for. Cool to see him applying a lot of pressure here. Salty 7 hands with an excellent wall off. He just has to be careful not to get his villagers stuck. Trying desperately to apply some pressure. We swap over to his perspective. He is on his way to the castle age. I think now is about the time to stop producing scouts. Full well knowing that your opponent is not defending. No barracks or anything. Actually, it's gonna be a while before these Shotels even come down. Or what is he going to do? He just kind of went for a fast castle age. That's fairly risky. The Indians are the ones playing aggressively here. And, oh god, is he going to put down a forward watchtower? That's my man. And, of course, Street Pete AOC, being the good player that he is, recognizes the general line of sight of a house is about 1 to 2 tiles, and the market's over here, so he actually did build it just out of that line of sight. This is going to be devastating. It is going to make sure that yellow has no access to gold, and all of his gold mines are at the front of his base, which is very unfortunate. There's this huge hill at the front, too. So, blue scouts around, and he notices that the map generation, I think, favors a more aggressive build like scouts, so good to see him doing that. This watchtower coming down too little too late. He's putting it down just to defend this gold mine, not even knowing that this watchtower is here. And, thank you so much, Wololo Crusader, for all the kind words. Really appreciate it, my friend. Let me just tab back into the game real fast. So, yes, this watchtower will zone purple off of his gold, and there's just not a safe gold mine for him to easily transition into. So, I'm curious to see how he'll respond. I think also, if you're the Indians, going for like a fast castle into Camels is also not great here, the more I think about it, because the Ethiopians get access to free pikemen and halberdier. Oh god, there's always a hole in the wall. You can't even believe it. HT Hills, guys, that's absolutely absurd. There is a hole here, it's just the elevation makes it look ridiculous. Anyway, I don't like a fast castle into Camels either, because the Indians have... Sorry, the Ethiopians have the free pikemen and halberdier, which actually just makes it an easy natural counter for them. Again, I like the idea of forcing your opponent to, like, make suboptimal choices for his own civilization. He's making some pikemen now to go defend himself, but yeah, it looks like we're just seeing, like, scouts into tower rush here. Hopefully he is halted on production of the scouts. It looks like he kind of has, which is great. Thanks so much, Ox4, for the 3-month reef step. Much appreciated. Yeah, now he's transitioning into archers. This is very smart on the part of blue. What Blue's doing here is he's conserving his food, because that's the most important resource he needs to get to the castle age, and now he's just transitioning into archers, which will allow him to stockpile that food. Gold is a little bit less important, and now he's just bringing in just whatever units he can. He's doing so much economic damage here to purple, and purple just does not have access to a safe gold mine. He's going to have to somehow secure one of these. He's actually in a very awkward situation. I don't know what purple's initial plan was here, but it looks like he's just going to go for knights, and this I'm a little bit nervous on. I feel like in this matchup, the Ethiopians want to go for crossbowmen. I do. Because here what we're doing is we're encouraging blue to make camels again. I don't really like that. And I think that this Night Rush is just a little bit too slow. It is allowing him to hold the line here, and I think he's just doing this so that he can have something to pressure these watchtowers. But I think, like, a mangonel could have accomplished that. Or, you just have some crossbows to defend yourself. I don't know. I kind of understand why he's doing this, because he needs something to pressure these watchtowers. He wants to go in the counterattack. And, to be fair, blue is not quite on his way. Okay, he's actually on his way to the castle age. So, that's a little bit devastating. Don't really like the knight choice here. He does actually have a lot of stone in the bank. Where are these villagers going? Oh, he's just trying to find a safe place where he can put his lumber camp where he wasn't being harassed. This is just awful for our purple player here. That tower rush on the part of blue is just such an excellent decision. He's going for these knights because it's a huge castle age power spike. He doesn't even need to fear these 2 spearmen. He can just go on this. Oh, but he shouldn't engage on the low ground. No, I think he could have just gone. I think he could have just focus fire down those 2 spearmen, pick off those archers, pick off those villagers. 3 knights is plenty. Spearmen do not trade 1-to-1. Now's the time to go. Clear this out. He went for knights for the powerful momentum swing, because that's what knights give you when you hit the castle age. Very difficult for your opponent to counter in the feudal age. So this is a big gambit, a big gamble for purple. Because now blue has such an easy transition in the castle age, even though purple has the advantage at this point in time. Some pretty good micro here from purple. Now he should be able to clear out that watchtower, give him some breathing room, Slumber Camp denied. It's so bad for him. So many villagers on stone, but just like no resources in the bank. I wonder if he was like selling stone at the market. I mean, he didn't end up having to build like 2 watchtowers. He is on the back foot. Blue, I think, played this really, really well. This fast castle age from purple without really too much of a game plan, I think, was kind of risky. He didn't have a barracks. That was kind of the telltale sign. That's why I thought he was going for Shotel warriors. This is Arabia, so going for like a boom like that, I think, is quite risky. Well, this watchtower is going down. Purple going to drop another watchtower. This one, I think, is not necessary at this point in the game. I mean, I realize that watchtowers and like town centers do like a negligible amount of extra damage versus camels, as that was reduced in the DLCs, but I don't think this really protects him that much. I think this should have been a town center. I think you would just wait until you have the extra wood for that, but his economy is just so weak. Oh, he's moving out with these knights now, but this is something that we see happens to the Ethiopians a lot, where they have these like clearly defined huge power spikes in the game that they need to be taking advantage of to win, compared to the Indians, which just have like a very stable power curve. You know, as the game drags on, their economy bonus gets better, they have access to more units. The Ethiopians are really strong when they reach the first 2 ages, and that's why I think crossbowmen, like if you're able to get the Bodkinero crossman upgrade, and you have the 15% faster firing rate, and you have the additional 100 food and 100 gold, that's just so strong. That's something I would like to see taken advantage of here. Blue, going for crossbow because, like I said, he was just massing up those archers as a way to make sure that he could keep the feudal pressure on and then get that power spike in the castle age. He's got Bodkinero coming out. I wonder if he'll mix in any camels or if he just doesn't feel the need to. That is the question. Will he mix in a camel? He could afford to, but honestly, he knows that he has enough crossbowmen and that purple has no upgrades, no scale barding armor or anything. No bloodlines at all for the Ethiopians. They don't even get that, so he feels like he doesn't need to waste any resources on a camel, and I think that's wise. Yeah, this is why I don't think you open up with a naked fast castle age on Arabia. It's very risky because the map's so difficult to wall. Tucker says, when I get a quadruple castle dropped, how do I safely move out if I'm walled off and my enemy has the definitive eco lead? Well, if you're walled off and your enemy has the definitive eco lead, I think you're probably dead in that case. Unless it's like a team game and you have someone you can run to. But in that case, if you get quadruple castle dropped, you probably lost if you have no place to go. So anyway, a naked fast castle age on Arabia, I think, is not... It's easier for us to say this, and I'm saying this for educational purposes. Generally not a good idea in Arabia. I think you want to open up with like a 3 militia drush to create that space. That way you don't get punished hard by a scout rush. So if you make like 3 militia in the Dark Age, and then just harass your opponent, keep him bottled in his own base, that can give you the space that you need to go for that fast castle age. It's just if you go for one, and you don't have a barracks or any sort of plan to make military units immediately when you get to the castle age, that's risky business. That is, because the map is so difficult to wall. He does have some very solid wall-offs, but yeah, it's not quite. We see a crossman, this is what I was talking about earlier, this is why I love crossmen so much, able to apply that pressure over the walls, actually. Lots of watchtowers come down here. He does fletching, too, for the extra range. Solid town center here for purple. Now that he controls this hill, he's in a pretty good spot. These crossmen do it to fight on the downhill. Is there a mangonel coming out on the way? Oh god, this is a disaster time for that mangonel to come out. Definitely want to spawn it inside that siege workshop, but he's going to get an excellent mangonel shot here. Everything falling apart here for blue. Well played by purple. Ah, that was so scary when he spawned that onager in minimum range of those crossmen, so the mangonel could not fire, but he didn't panic, and I think a lot of players would have panicked in this situation. It's a great control here from purple, decimating that army of crossmen, and that was the momentum swing that he needed, because purple is behind. The feudal age and early castle age went very poorly for him, and his night rush did not apply enough pressure. So now he's created some space. This is excellent. This means this game is nowhere near over yet. You know, also having this lumber camp denied was really bad. He could actually delete that foundation for an additional 100 wood. Great defense. Now blue, still recovering from that, has to decide what his next plan is, because his crossbow push did not work out, and it looks like he even built the university just to get that ballistics upgrade. 3 town centers down for blue, so again, he's still going to be ahead economically, and he's going to keep pulling ahead because his villagers are discounted. Now purple must come up with a game plan. He can't really apply too much pressure here. So what's he going to do? Stockpiling a lot of stone. This makes me think he's still on that Shotel warrior plan. I think Shotels are fine. I think they're a neutral choice that you can go for in this matchup. I think crossbows are optimal. Shotels are neutral. Knights are not optimal. But we haven't seen blue pull out the camels yet. I think that blue right now is just content to boom up. Yeah, putting down another Castle Age building, making that Imperial Age just an option for him. We're 53 population for purple, 76 for blue. He's just booming up. Very strong economy. Not really making that many military, and it's still just making some crossmen to defend himself. But I don't even know if he'll like move offensively. Purple has got +1 defense. I think he needs to build up that eco. He does. Hey, it's the Kool-Aid dude. Good to see you. Yeah, I think that the fast Castle Age into Shotels is better in the early game, but it's bad now. And it's bad now only because his opponent has massed up crossbowmen. The Shotel Warrior thing is not so bad in this matchup because you force your opponent to make crossmen, a unit that the Indians don't have any bonuses for. There's nothing about their crossmen that are particularly exceptional, so you're forcing them to kind of make units that aren't necessarily optimal for them. But still, you know, when you're having the Indians like play defensively, I think that if they just wall off, they're going to be fine and just play defensively with crossmen. And I don't know if you want to be playing that game where you're just like trying to bottle the Indians in, but you can't really kill them. And I think that crossmen are the thing that can still apply pressure, still bottle the Indians in, something that you inherently have an advantage over because your crossmen are stronger, and then you can apply pressure on the other side of the walls. I think Shotels can work if they're fast, but at this point it's just going to be too slow. So he's going to need to come up with another plan, and I think how he's going to win this game at this point is probably not knights anymore. I think it's defend with siege weapons, get a huge economy, try and get an equal-sized economy, an equal-sized boom. I don't know if I like this town center. I think I may have wanted to put it like near the back, because I think that this is now another front that blue could attack if he so sees it. And I just think the stables are just not ideal. These players are high rated, but the reason I do these videos is not so we can see, I think people misunderstand, not so we can see these matchups played flawlessly, as experts don't really play HD much, so I can't just routinely call up a bunch of experts and ask them to play these civs. Also, these experts don't play these, even when they do play in HD, they don't play the new civs that much. They don't know that much about the new civs, so it would kind of defeat the purpose of it. My CLR browser crashes every time I get a bit donation. Well, not every time, but every now and then. Alright, I think I fixed it. So, I do these as an educational thing, because I think it's actually even better that we see these matchups played suboptimally. Maybe not on the level of the Britons versus Goths thing, which was just kind of a little bit of a Titanic, but I think this is just a really, really interesting match to see. Because this stuff isn't necessarily straightforward. I really feel like when most players play the Ethiopians that they think, Shotel Warriors, they're insane. I just love running underneath my opponent's town centers and just one-shotting them. 18 attack damage, that's crazy. That's like way more than 17 and less than 19. It's great. I love Shotel Warriors. Instead, you should be thinking 15% faster archer firing rate. Whoa! Archers are really good for getting you through the ages quickly because it lets you stockpile food. Oh my god, I get 100 food and 100 gold when I advance the next age? That sounds like a recipe for a devastating timing attack. Does my opponent have better crossbows than me? No. Sounds pretty good. But even then, I can understand the Shotel Warriors being the choice in this matchup. I can. I don't think they're optimal, but I think it's okay. I think Knights, though, are not good in this matchup. Just because it's such a natural counter for the Indians. It really is. He's just doing it to try and apply some pressure, but I just don't think it's going to work out. We haven't really seen Blue make any camels at all during this game, and it looks like he's just putting down that market, that way he can sell wood. This is great. This is something as well I think is just criminally underrated by players, is to build a market and use it to rebalance your economy. He accidentally stockpiled too much wood. It happens to the best of us. Sell a bunch of wood, just shift-click it, sell 500 at once, go to the Imperial Age, close at this game. I think it's interesting that he's been able to accomplish all this with crossmen. That's why I really did love the Siege Workshop decision on the part of Purple, and that was just some excellent micro on his part to take out that group of crossmen. So I think, yeah, the solution is to defend. He's making the Knights because he just really wants to apply pressure. I think that's what that is. It's just that he's weak enough at this point that... Oh no, he needs to repair that Mangonel. Oh, he's trying really hard, but there's so much HD lag. But he's gonna do it! Salty 7 hands to God. I really don't think most players could have actually pulled that one off. With all the HD delay, you can tell he was trying. This is all tense, but yeah, he saved that Mangonel, so Jesus. Purple just has immaculate micro. But right now, I just think that Blue just had the solid game plan. Scouts to apply some early pressure. He transitioned into archers when he needed to. Applying so much pressure with those crossbowmen. Going around the map, picking off all those villagers. Keeping purple weak. That's what he's doing. Right now, purple putting down a bunch of archer ranges. Is he going to go for like elite skirms or something? I think that's also acceptable if he wanted to. He's just in a lot of trouble because his economy is really small. Like that's the thing that's going to decide it. Is we're at 92 pop to 136 for purple. So yeah, purple has a long way to go if he wants to build up, get back in this game. Now the camels are coming down for blue. He's biding his time, recognizing he didn't need to waste any food on them earlier. And he's making them because now he's on his way to the Imperial Age. So he can get heavy camel, he can get Imperial camel. His purple, yeah, he's not going to be able to get to Imp yet, just because his economy is a little bit weak. He's going to have to deal with his Imperial camels coming. I think, though, if the game goes late, it's something the Ethiopians are more than capable of dealing with. Oh god, he sees this forward castle, but is he going to react in time? Because I wouldn't, because you can't see it on the minimap, but you can see it in your fog of war. Oh my god. Oh, he shouldn't have moved forward with his mangonel, because now he gets vision. Now blue knows, now blue's reacting. But I think the purple thought that that this castle was actually visible. This castle will go up. This is a pretty bold move. Will it pay off, though? Oh, it's such an excellent position for this forward castle. Well played, purple. All these guys, all these crossmen. Oh, God, because blue couldn't click on it, so he didn't know how far along in construction it was. It's a pretty devastating castle. He's got the hill advantage. There's a ton of villagers inside it. Purple trying to apply the killing blow, while blue is on his way to the Imperial Age because he spent so much money on that upgrade. Will it pay off? There's no castle yet for blue, so he doesn't have an easy answer to this with Trebs. He's going to have to rely on battering rams like a savage. So forward barracks. I do think if the game goes to the Imperial Age that the Ethiopians are totally A-okay in a situation like this because you have free halberdier to deal with those Imperial camels. It's not great, but it's still okay. And this town center is going to go down. This gold mine also denied. Great play here from purple. Is this going to be the comeback play? How's he doing in his economy at home? He's not going to imp. Is he all in on this? We'll have to see. I'll probably keep on his perspective for now. Blue waiting on some upgrades. Things are getting complicated. No Shotel warriors out from purple though. He's just using this castle as a means to an end. And yeah, he'll probably just be mixing in some pikes. So what I like from the Ethiopians in this case versus this army is a more value-oriented army that I like to do, which is something maybe like pikemen plus like mangonels. I don't think we're going to see too many more arbalists or crossmen from our blue Indians player at this point. I think it's going to be like mostly like camels and maybe siege weapons. So I think it's great that he has these forward siege workshops. Hopefully he has the murder holes upgrade for his castle to deal with them when the camels end up coming in. This is really good though because I think that Salty Seven Hands noticed, our purple Ethiopians player, that we're reaching the point where camels start to become like huge for the Indians. He's on his way to the Imperial Age, so we will start seeing those, and camels are just not that good versus castles. They still take just like a little bit of extra damage from them. So putting a forward castle here is nice. It's just a really, really good gamble on his part. Taking out all these military buildings, taking out this castle, did some blow to this economy, and, you know, blue doesn't really want to engage yet. He's still trying to grab all of his upgrades. He's going to lose a lot of his villagers. Yeah, you know, when we think about it, the way the map is laid out, blue actually has a lot of his valuable economy near the front of his base, thus making a forward castle very valuable. Similarly, I think it would have been very valuable for blue to drop one. Meanwhile, some arbalist raiding going on here. I think this is great, but all these like watchtowers that are just all over the place are actually paying dividends here. This is one like a night or two would be great as a way to clear that off. Oh no, here comes the mangonel. It's gonna be really difficult to kill that mangonel with the hill advantage for blue, but blue's getting juked. Purple walking perpendicular to those mangonel shots. Really good control on his part. Every single mangonel shot will miss. Will he be able to turn this around? We'll have to see. Chemistry coming down for blue. This is how I like to play Indians. I think that blue is basically playing this exactly how I would do it. So getting to the Imperial Age, he's grabbing chemistry. He's doing this because he knows that it's very natural for the Ethiopians at this point to start spamming barracks to deal with your heavy camels. So when we look at the Indians as well, they have very strong hand cannoneers due to their unique technology and their faster gold production. So hand cannoneers have +1 range, which is actually not that good of a bonus because hand cannoneers miss a lot at max range, so it's actually not that great of a bonus, but every little bit helps. So he knows that the pikemen are kind of a natural transition for the Ethiopians here now that he's revealed the fact that he has a huge army of heavy camels, so I really like that he is able to mix in those hand cannoneers. I think it was also smart of him to get chemistry instead of like spamming battering rams. He does not have a castle yet. He might have one now. Yeah, no, he still does not have a castle yet. So I think that rams would have been a very inefficient way to deal with the castle, because like a single Shotel warrior can come out and just kill the rams. So bombard cannons were just easily going to be his best bet to remove this. Welcome to stream, Kyle Landry Piano. Welcome, welcome. I don't think the game is necessarily over. Probably not to you, but I do think that purple is in absolute deep trouble. Thanks so much, Tac271 Mortem, for the 10 bits. Much appreciated. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, no trebs for blue. Blue does have Imperial Camels. I think now is the time to move out. Purple is in the Imperial Age, which is good. The question is, how big is his economy? He's being attacked by a lion, being raided over here. If he could just get out like a few light cavalry or like a Shotel warrior and just try and pick off some exterior villagers, it might be good. So he's going into Arbs now. I think Arbs are really good versus these Imperial Camels that have no pierce armor. And they trade favorably with the opposing Arbalists. I do not believe the Indians have ring archer armor, so this should be a favorable thing for the Ethiopians. He just does not have the military, he does not have the pop for this. I believe that blue is almost pop capped. Yes, he is. So Purple's playing so well, his economy is just so small. It's just so small, he didn't microscope to see it. I don't think that that's honestly going to be enough for him. He's gonna lose this castle, he's just hanging on for dear life. Oh my god. I had $1 for every time I saw someone just clinging onto this castle. Just does not have the military, does not have the population. He must abandon this forward, regroup at the back, rally some units. God, he's just not transitioning to the late game quickly enough. He needs to rally up his guys. This forward is a lost cause. Or maybe it's not quite yet. 15% faster firing rate coming into play, but he's got to deal with the elevation. Blue transitioning into lead skirmishers, playing some 4D chess here. Well played, Blue. God. Purple, oh my god, he's doing so well, but he's just not massing up his guys properly, not able to get to the late stages of the game. He is now finally building some more military buildings at the back, but god, my heart goes up to Purple. I do think he's been playing this well. It's very easy for us to see things he should be doing in retrospect because we're spectators. He is moving the front back, this is good, but he needs more military buildings. He needs to start macroing like crazy. Hello to Jarlo Fred. This is why I'm looking forward to playing it on stream, because this is where Resonance 22 comes in. This is where the Imperial Age macro game. Watch my videos long enough, and then you too can master that macro. Purple's playing so well, but the early Imperial Age has just been a little bit awkward for him. He's just trying so hard to transition into it. He just doesn't have the pop, he doesn't have the military buildings. He's got the decision-making down, though. I think that forward castle was bold and awesome. This is a very well-placed, this is a perfectly placed defensive castle. I always try to, every time I point out something that like a player does that is probably suboptimal, I also try and point out the things that they do right. Because I think it's very important that when you're, like for you guys as well, you know, whenever you're watching or whenever I'm watching your games, to know the things that you do right and the things that you do wrong. I think that's very important to teaching people things. When we're watching this, I think we can see a lot of excellent military strategy from Purple, but we need that that macro decision making down. Like right now, I think having more than one villager building these is ideal. But he's rallying his guys. I think Blue may be missing out on an opportunity here. Maybe afraid of Purple just a bit too much. Because Purple really has nothing. Oh my god. He does have a lot of wood in the bank, yeah. That happens to the best of us. A lot of military buildings here from Purple, but not quite enough, to be perfectly honest. At this stage in the game, he just has such a low population. He needs to be rallying his troops, getting his upgrades. There's a lot to deal with, though. We can tell that Purple is inherently more of an aggressive player. This way I just felt weird that he would go for that fast castle right off the bat like that. It's a really poorly placed lumber camp. I understand that there are a bunch of arbs back here, which mean they're really annoying. But I feel like we want our players to keep their economy like really far away from the battlefield. This could be potentially bad stable placement for Blue, as this villager will end up being caught near, and Camels will spawn in like both these spots probably, and it'll just be awkward. I think Blue playing a little bit defensively. I think maybe too defensively here, giving Purple time to build up. I think that Purple does not have enough military buildings, is not producing enough troops though, to really make this a thing. Yeah, he's just been so slow with getting the pop cap. Maybe because he just doesn't have enough villagers. My guess is he just does not have enough villagers. Yeah, because he's only at 163 population. Manus Rex, good to see you again. Always a pleasure to have you. His performance looks really good. Is this 4.8? Yes, this is patch 4.8. Teutonic TC Rush is not really a thing in Okoloponics. These guys are like 1900, 1950-ish. Yeah, 4.7 does not run nearly as well as 4.8. Yeah, it's just the economy is just so small for our Ethiopians player. It is good to see him do some raiding, though. Again, Purple doing so many things right, but his economy is just not quite up to snuff. And this is kind of what we saw in the previous game with him, which is where he was doing such an excellent job defending, but he was just always playing from behind. And here, Blue just kind of playing this matchup like immaculately. I think he's being a little bit too conservative here. He's winning so hard. I don't think he's going to lose by playing slowly, but it would be incredible if he did. So defensive from Blue. I actually think he really fears this hill advantage and the fact that Camels do take like 1 additional damage, I believe, from arrows. Like the castle arrows, fortifications, those type of things. Oh, man. Yeah, he just doesn't want to go in. He's sustaining a lot of losses. He's just waiting for those bombard cannons to do the dirty work. Does not want to go in, but I think he can. I think he can just go in and sweep this. But we see the bigger picture, whereas, you know, when you're not spectating, it can be kind of difficult for that. Look at that scout raiding. This is really tricky to do raiding with light cavalry, by the way, when you're purple. Like purple, because you have to deal with the Imperial Camels from Blue, so that raiding dream is just kind of falling apart. What the hell? It's a weird game of Age of Empires 2, guys. I'm pretty sure there are a large group of elite skirmishers underneath this castle harassing those repairers. I would have assumed that those would be the Camels, not the elite skirmishers doing this, as we see this is pretty sad. Effective, but sad. As I don't think there are murder holes for this. That's one way to do it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. There's one way to deny that repair. I think it's just because he's trying to be conservative with his gold, and he recognizes that he does not have that much gold in the bank, so he wants to keep his Imperial Camels healthy. A bunch of forward seated workshops. Purple doing a great job holding the line. He really is. Getting time to macro. Oh god, I feel like Blue had a window of opportunity here. This is like the closest civilization analysis matchup video I've done. If you've been enjoying this, I'd appreciate it if you guys take the time to leave a thumbs up, comment, and share it around on social media and Reddit. Thank you. Wow. This game is not over yet. Suck it, Twitch chat. I do think, though, that this game is very dicey for Purple still, because he isn't really making any significant power plays, and this Trebuchet is a little far forward. He doesn't really have a win condition at this point, but he is actually kind of stabilized. I think the raiding was a good way to kind of claw his way back into the game. But, Well, this is going to be tricky. I think that now that Blue's moving in, I think now it's a little more risky to go underneath that castle. At least not with all of your military units. He's just trying to pick off some of those repairers and then make sure that he doesn't sustain too many Imperial Camel losses. But I think that Blue, playing so defensively, waiting for his bombard cannons to do the dirty work, is just not quite working out for him. It speaks volume of this excellent castle placement from Purple, that he's been able to hold the line for so long. It's just, if he loses this castle, that's the game. And does he not have stone to repair this anymore? Or did he just lose all of his repairers? He does not have stone to repair this anymore. Now, I think, is the time for Blue to move in. Yeah, Purple still is not quite macroing well enough. I just don't think he has enough villagers. Like, if we take a look at the resources that he's stockpiled, yeah, he just does not have enough resources stockpiled. He's nowhere near the pop cap. And if you can't afford to consistently produce military units, you just don't have enough villagers. That's the most important lesson in Age of Empires 2. Keep producing villagers until you have like 120, I would say 60% of the max population, or until you have enough just stockpile resources to produce troops. I think Blue might have a few too many. He is floating a little bit of food and wood, which if he was macroing perfectly, he wouldn't need. But he has... It's better to have too many villagers than too few, and... Oh man, GG well played, Purple. I hope Purple's not too upset about this. I think we gotta give him props. We do. I think that he... God, he held on for an hour! The god! But just did not quite have the economy. And Blue played that immaculately. We gotta give it to Purple, man. My heart goes out to you. GG, well played. Once that castle went down, that basically is what sealed the deal. He just ran out of stone. He just did not have quite the economy to win this game in the late game. And This is one of the few Civ matchup analyses where we got to see a lot of things come to play. Generally, when I talk about... This is something I don't want people to get the wrong idea, is like when I talk about things like, you know, as the Britons, you should be making champions deal with the Goths. There's no guarantee you'll actually see those in this game, just like we never saw Shotel warriors come into play here. That's why I'm more than open to doing these multiple times where we just see different situations. You know, maybe we revisit Britons versus Goths in Black Forest, for example, in a 1v1. That could be particularly fascinating. And here, you know, it's just the economy discrepancy that ended up doing him in the later stages of the game, and I would just say that Blue played very, very well. I think a little bit too defensively near the end. I think that he didn't know exactly how far ahead he was after he pushed away this forward. I think he just assumed that Purple would have like a significant amount of military infrastructure in his own base, and he would just had a defensive castle there already. But those things hadn't gone up yet. And I think that Blue gave Purple a lot of breathing room he didn't necessarily... Blue gave Purple a lot of breathing room he didn't necessarily need, but still played just so very well. Great game from both players here. Can't take anything away from them. GG, well played. So apparently, Purple says that he thought that because the Street Pete's rating, which was not quite 1900, that he wouldn't apply any field pressure. And that's the thing with ratings in HD, is that they're all over the place. It's really difficult to actually get a feel for how good it just gives you a ballpark for how good a player actually is. Like in my prime, I was like 1650-ish on Voobly, so the rating thing can be deceptive in HD. I also don't think that ratings necessarily carry over from Voobly to HD very well. You know, people say there's like a 400 approximate elo difference, but I disagree. I think that holds true some of the time. That people have like, there are plenty of people on HD with like very boosted ratings, and then people whose ratings are just too low for what they are. I think ratings are accurate in Voobly, but on HD. It just gives you a general ballpark, and you know, Street Pete AFC is in his element, just played so very well. Well done, Ogas Ogas. I think you played well, Seven Hands, man. I think you did. I think that you both played well, and it was just a really, really great match to watch. Ethiopians versus Indians. Please do let me know what you think in the comments as well as on Twitch chat. I do read them all, so thank you. Yeah, this is just a great match. This is why I love Age of Empires 2. You know, by the time I post this, might be a little weird because I might have already done all my announcements and stuff, but yeah, we got a lot of great things coming in December. Looking forward to it. More Age of Empires 2 and content for other games. And again, thank you so much, guys, for those of you who take the time as well to not only leave a like, rating, and comment on my Age of Empires videos, but also to check out the content to do for other games. Show your support for that as well. Helps out a lot with the channel in the long run. And if you don't know, you know, about like what the hell a Hearthstone is, for example, then I do have a tutorial video for that, which I definitely encourage you to watch first. Yes. GG, guys. That's just a great game. All right, so I am going to run a quick ad and then end off the stream. So again, wonderful to have you guys. Thank you for watching. Before I go, though, I will shamelessly recommend that people do check out my various social media pages, as that does help out a lot. So if you are indeed interested in supporting the channel, then feel free to follow me on Facebook and Twitter. You find my live stream schedule below the stream on Twitch, so by scrolling down underneath the video player. I do update that about every few days. Please do keep your eyes peeled on the schedule, especially if I upload this like sometime near Christmas, because that means that things are going to be all over the place. So make sure you keep your eyes peeled. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. You guys are awesome. You got a great little community here. Sudden death free for all. I've done that before, Ender Zero, but it was not so good. Yeah, December's going to be a big month. Alright, so, on that note, I'm going to run a quick ad. So for those of you who don't run ad block, it does help out quite a bit. And I will see you all next week. Keep your eyes peeled on the streaming schedule. As always, I'm open to your feedback. Take care, everybody.